Anybody there?
Live.
Broadcasting live now.
Yeah.
Are we live now, Nige?
Yeah.
Oh, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Red and Blue Review. Finally, we are here, I promise you, and we're going to do that all over again. Right, starting up north, Nigel Croucher. Good evening, Nigel.
Good evening, Nick.
And how's the weather doing up there, Nige?
Cold.
Cold, and you've had a bit of a wall blow down, is that right?
Yeah, so waiting for a builder to come tomorrow.
But you're all safe and sound, then, yeah?
Yeah.
Good stuff. Down under, we got in New Zealand, in Christchurch, we have Tim Richards. Timbo, how are you, mate?
I'm still good, thanks.
You're still good. Okay. Is it the summer yet?
Almost. Yeah.
So just for everybody's benefit, in case they didn't know, Tim is about to relocate back to the UK because he's barking mad. He's approaching the summer down in Christchurch in New Zealand, yet he's going to come back to snow in the UK. You are barking, sir, aren't you?
Yeah, there's only so many Christmases on the beach in the sun that you can put up with before you need some rubbish weather again.
Exactly. I can see everybody in the chat, loads of you going through, and I'm sure one of the boys will pick that up in a minute. And down in Sussex, Mr. Noble, welcome, sir. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Good evening, Nick. Good evening, everybody. Good to see everyone in the chat saying evening all. And yeah, pretty good, thanks.
Oh, yeah, so good morning to you as well, Aaron, in whatever it's stand you are. I can't remember where you are, but good morning to you. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been teasing you over the last few weeks about something very special that was going to happen sometime in late November. Well, I can tell you now that I'm not going to tell you. It's happened. Okay, it has happened. It was huge. It was massive, but more about that coming up. Don't forget to ask your smart speaker to play the latest Red and Blue Review podcast. The pod will be up as soon as the show is over this evening. So if you do have lots of Palace fans and Palace supporters out there, please give it a like. Please give it a share wherever you are, be it on Twitter or on Facebook, whatever. Just give it a like and a comment. We get to see every single one of your comments underneath. I promise you, we read each and every one of them. What else have we got on there? Oh, don't forget, you can also watch it back as live because we are simultaneously broadcasting on our YouTube channel. Again, go into the comments underneath, put a comment in there, give it a like. More importantly, give it a subscribe so you never miss an upcoming show. Really important. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, we are the only podcast you can watch. We are the Red and Blue Review. These boys give up their time on a Sunday evening each and every week, and for that I'm truly grateful. And for you to join us as well, again, we are very grateful. Right, coming up in tonight's show, we've got quite a few bits to go through. I wanted to be talking to you about some special prizes in a minute. We've got to talk about some of the more unsavoury stuff at Selhurst Park yesterday afternoon and around the stadium. Bear in mind, we did touch on this about Burnley the other day. We're going to be talking about the lineup. We've got loads of stats. We've got quite a lot to talk to you about. But first of all, the under-23s had a stonking result, as you can see on screen. Well done, Nige. They played Man United away in the league, and they obviously beat them 2-1. Really great result. I mean, just goes to show you that we have, coming up through the ranks, we have some quality behind us. So it's not just the first team quality. We've got some quality in youth. Also, the the under-18s, although they beat Aston Villa the other day and they did 3-1, sadly they exited their League Cup competition. It's done on a league points basis. Okay, unfortunately they exited their cup, but again another stonking win, 3-1 at full time. Well done to them. Other news from the club this week. Okay, Big Ben. A lot of people haven't even realised this. Big Ben Teke. I know Tim is your favourite, and he has now achieved 150 appearances for the club. So massive congratulations to Big Ben. Didn't work for you yesterday, I know, but we'll come on to that in good time. The other bit of news: Wilfried Zaha overtook Julian Speroni to become the fourth all-time appearance header within the club. Jim Cannon is obviously top, friend of the show. Jim, I know you're going to be on. I think it's next week. You're back with us. Good evening to you, mate, if you're watching this. Terry Long, also, as you can see on the screen, and somebody called, we did have a chuckle about this one pre-show, Albert Harry. Well, I'm sorry, Albert. God rest your soul. I'm sure you're no longer with us, but I've no idea who you are. I've got a scoop. Boys, do any of you know anything about Albert Harry?
No, but we can find out. We can research it, can't we? You know,
Yeah,
it was a long time
next
ago.
time.
Long time ago.
Well, I thought you would remember him the first time round here.
Yeah. I think my granddad might.
Ladies and gentlemen, so if you've been on Twitter, if you have a Twitter account, please pin your ears back to something extremely, extremely special. Mr. Noble has been running previous competitions. Ian, before I tell him about the prizes, would you like to give him a resume about what your current competition is that you are running on the Red and Blue Review Twitter account, please?
Yes, of course, Nick. So, evening, everybody. So, I get my Twitter fix now by being the admin on the Red and Blue Review Twitter account, having been banned personally a couple of times. So, it's a bit of a badge of honour. But I might go back on personally at some point, but there we go. What we did in October, we just asked you to guess how many points we were going to get in October, and we've just issued the prize for that. We only have 4 games that month. We gave it a miss for November, but of course in December we have 6 fixtures. You've got to ignore the Leeds game because that's still in November on Tuesday night. We go Man United first away next Sunday, and then we go Everton at home, Southampton at home, Watford away, Tottenham away on Boxing Day, and then Norwich at home. So there's 6 fixtures. All we want to know is how many points we're going to get out of those possible 18 in December. You must follow us on Twitter. And if you're a Palace fan, of course, we'll follow you back. If your account is obviously a Palace fan account, you must follow us on Twitter. You must retweet the tweet as well and give me an answer in the bottom. You can't say between 8 and 12 points. That's rubbish. You've got to say 10, 12, 14, or whatever you think it is. And we will pick one person who gets that right. They've done all 3 things. They've followed us. They've retweeted it. They've given the correct answer. And if there's more than one of you, we'll pick one at random to win one special piece of Palace memorabilia. All right. So Nick has got the sort of reverse of that. Hold it up, Nick.
I'll give you one of them.
Yeah, one of them. So there's the back of the programme. So you can see it's quite a special programme. Can we tell them what game it is?
Very carefully, because there's a reason why.
It's an FA Cup final programme from 1990, and it is signed by someone special, all right? So that's all we're going to tell you tonight. So it's worth winning. It's a great prize. So all you got to do is enter our competition on Twitter. There we are.
And going forward from that, and Tim, I'm coming to you in a minute to say some hellos, if you'd be so kind. Right, so you'll see, ladies and gentlemen, I'm actually clutching 4 here, 4 different brochures, okay? 4 different programmes. And the reason why I'm only showing you the back, because the person that has signed these, it is extra special. If there is it is really, really special. Please get on Twitter. Please, as Ian said, give us a retweet, give us your entry, your number. So this one here, for example, is the FA Cup semi-final at Villa Park against Liverpool. Okay, it is very, I mean, that's not so rare, okay, but it's still a very special one. Sunday, the 8th of April, 1990, at Villa Park, Birmingham. Official programme price was £1, okay? But on the front of this individual that we're talking about, this special individual has signed this for you, okay? The second one, again, doesn't look very much to you, but this one here is the Palace versus Blackburn Rovers, okay, in the Canon League Division 2, okay? And this was that a semi-final, Ian? It was, wasn't it? Playoff semi-final.
Final.
No, that's a league match.
Final.
Oh, that's the league match, is it? Okay.
That's the league match.
My mistake.
Right, okay. League match. So
Nigel knows.
Saturday, 25th of August, 1984. Okay, and there is a reason why we've got it for you. Okay, and this also has been signed. So this will probably, one of these will drop into January's prizes. Okay, this one here, again, I'm going to be very careful that I don't show you the front of it. This is the Zenith Data Final program, the original program, official match day program, £2 it was. Okay, Saturday, 7th of April, 1991 at Wembley. Okay, obviously we tonked the blue side of Liverpool. What was it, 4-1 in the end?
4-1, yep.
Andy
Yep.
Gray bashed them all up. Okay, this is also signed by the special guest, ladies and gentlemen. And as Ian's already alluded to, Crystal Palace versus Manchester United Cup final, Saturday, the 12th of May, 1990. Kick-off 3 p.m. And this is the official program is £3. Okay, I'm a bit dubious about that because it's got tobacco advertising on the back of it. But you will be winning one of those prizes with Ian's competition this month, but only if you've liked our Twitter page and only if you retweet your entry on there. It's really important. Please, if you're on Twitter, get onto it. Okay, it's very, very important. I am busting a gut to give you the news. Okay, I can't. On the way. Tim, say some hellos.
Hello. There you go. So Daniel Garlick, Prinny 73, Andy Best, Sam Curson, Chris Petts, Ryan Hinton, Andrew Stacey, Phil Usher, Paul Grant, Paul Bairstow, Kathy Thompson, Paul John English, Joyson Green, Claire Davis, Aaron, Sean, Dawn, Paul Holden. No, not sorted the car out yet, mate. Just got some other things to sort out first. Claire Davis, Real Panel, loads of people, Nick, loads of people.
Hello, Paul. I know you're out there, mate. I can see you. Good evening, buddy. Right, let's get serious for a minute. Okay, we will cover yesterday's defeat in great detail in a minute, but let's get serious. This is actually now growing. If you remember, cast your mind back to post Burnley game. It was our displeasure to be able to report to you of some disturbances in the crowd with between Palace fans. Palace on Palace, okay? And a lot of people were hurt. And if you remember, I mentioned about people, there's at least one guy got thrown onto the train tracks and all the rest of it. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my sad displeasure to be able to report to you that not only is it happening away from home, it also happened yesterday at home at Selhurst Park. There was fighting in the back of the Homesdale. There was fighting at Norwood Junction. This is Palace on Palace. Can somebody please tell me what on earth these guys are thinking? Because they clearly are not proper Crystal Palace fans. Okay, why? Somebody is going to get hurt. Eventually, this will escalate, as I said to you the other day, and somebody will escalate on one of these guys, whoever they're from. I don't care who they are. Okay, but don't do it at Selhurst Park. Don't do it on away ground. Somebody will get stabbed. Somebody is going to get seriously injured. Please, for the love of God, whatever your beef is, sort it out. Please sort it out. Okay, but sort it out away from Selhurst Park, not at Leeds on Tuesday evening, not at Man United on next Sunday, not at home against yesterday against Villa. What is all that about? Whatever it is, I don't care. It's nothing to do with us. We don't care. But I am now getting to the point where I'm concerned that if this continues, people are going to start avoiding going to games both home and away. Okay, and if you remember what this, the whole idea of a singing section and everything else, okay, it's to make the atmosphere better, not to make it worse, and for people to stay away because they're frightened of what they may witness at the club, home or away. Guys, knock it on the head. I am personally and publicly imploring Crystal Palace Football Club. You have CCTV coming out of every posterior in that ground. Everywhere in that ground, you cannot fart without seeing a CCTV camera. You have the camera, you have the technology, you have the ability. Find them, weed them out, and kick them out. Please, okay, because I don't want this in my club. I've never had it before. Please, Palace, I'm calling on you, the chief executive, the owner, whoever it is, get hold of these individuals and get them away from our club. Revoke their season tickets, football banning orders, I don't care. But I do not want to see women and children witnessing what had happened at Selhurst Park and at Norwood Junction yesterday and away at Burnley on whatever night it was last week. Please stop it, guys. If you love our club, make it stop, and make it stop now. Anything you want to add, boys?
No, not really, Nick. No, I didn't see anything yesterday. I was at the game, but obviously it went on. So you say I did see some evidence of claret all over the toilets, men's toilets at Burnley in the away end of Burnley last week. So it's just not happening. So I'm sure it will be dealt with in the fullness of time. Can't carry on. It won't carry on. It will be stopped, I'm sure.
Indeed. Shall we go on to the lineup, boys? Let's talk about. I know we lost the game yesterday, but it's actually more. It's more interesting than talking about those. I don't know why I'm giving them so much airtime, really, but it's important because it is a part of our club, and so there you go. Right, so the lineup yesterday, and this is all important, actually, guys. We're going to talk about this lineup because I'm intrigued to know your thoughts. So we enforced a couple of changes that we know about. Guaita in goal, Ward, Geehee and Mitchell across the back to be joined by James Tompkins. Welcome back, Tomo. I didn't think you had a particularly bad game yesterday. Across the middle, because of James MacArthur's hamstring injury, Gallagher, Milivojevic and Kouate, Elise and Benteke and Zaha, and those three up top. Now, Ian, I'm coming to you first, okay, because I want to talk about the lineup in particular. Milivojevic, Kouate, and Gallagher missing. We're missing something yesterday. The whole team was missing something for sure yesterday. But in particular, I think would you say that we lost our fight in midfield?
Yeah, I would actually. The love-in for Aston Villa on Match of the Day was focused on their midfield. They pressed more than we did. They wanted it a bit more than we did in midfield. I remember from years ago when I used to play the game, we used to say the game is won and lost in midfield, and I think we lost it yesterday in midfield. They did just have that edge on us yesterday, and we weren't quite at the races. And a lot of criticism for Luka Milivojevic, a lot of criticism. He only lasted an hour. I can't see how he can carry on getting selected, even though he's the captain of the club. It's almost like the captain's curse. We've given him the benefit of the doubt. He's got his way back in again. He was missing a while back and he got back in again. But I think he's the one that's probably got to make way for somebody else, Will Hughes or Riedeveld. But we are missing James MacArthur an awful lot. You don't realise how much you miss him until he's not playing. So I think you're right. I think we lost the game in midfield yesterday. And that's all I can say, really.
Tim, obviously an enforced change in the back four with Anderson dropping out and Jimbo Tompkins coming in. The one thing that we've picked up on recent weeks about Anderson and his quality of his ball, and quite a few of our recent goals have actually stemmed from the back. Big miss yesterday. Would you not agree?
Yeah. I think also you could see that Tompkins' lack of football showed. I think it took him a while to get into the game. The goal, their first goal, it was going for a ball he shouldn't have been going for. It was covered. You say that, but like you said, our issue recently has been our defence. So yes, going forward they're great, but it's the players on the pitch. Perhaps it's the old adage, like with PV, when Van Aanholt was still there, PVA. Great going forward, not so good defending. What do you want your defenders to do? Do you want them to defend or do you want them to go forward? So, I think Tompkins yesterday, he's had worse games, but I think you could just tell his lack of football showed.
Nige, Elise in for Ayew. Somebody, I think it was Ryan, just said in the chat, he was not as effective yesterday, which I think is a little bit harsh because Villa were squeezing us narrow. Neither of the wingers were very effective, but Elise in for Ayew. How do you think he performed yesterday?
Last week, I was actually at Burnley and I thought Ayew had a very good game. He was given a role to sort of like prowl up and down the right wing, and that's where he stuck, and he did a good job. But as you say, Elise, he came in yesterday. I've only watched the brief highlights, and what I've seen, it wasn't his best game. But there's, sort of everyone can have an off day. So we'll, just hope he improves on Tuesday night.
Yeah, I'd be interested. Actually, I'm going to be coming on to you guys later on. I'll be interested to know what you think the manager should do lineup wise, because I think if so, I mean, my overall assumption, I saw the game on a dodgy stream, and I couldn't get to the game on time yesterday. I think they underperformed right the way across the pitch. If I'm honest with you, there wasn't anybody that even Connor had less of an effective game. Wilf certainly had less of an effective game. But yeah, we had our opportunities. Yeah, go on, Tim.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, because the commentary that we had down here picked up on quite a good point. In that, for the first 10 minutes, I thought we were the better side. We were playing really well, but then Villa made a change, and they brought Ashley Young to more into the middle to keep an eye on Gallagher, and it kind of squashed it. And that was my disappointing thing, is it took till the second half for them to change it. You know, the players on the pitch, they can see what's going on. As soon as they brought Ashley Young closer in the middle to like kind of squash it out a bit, we just didn't use. They were really narrow, but we just didn't use the wings. You know, and so I think that was our problem in the first half.
And I think it's actually quite interesting. Dawn Palace. Good evening, Dawn. I hope you're well, my lovey. She's actually makes the point. She said Elise had acres of space and didn't take his man on. He was told not to. I'm not so sure whether he was told not to or not, but you're right. Your point's right, Dawn. That both him and Wilf did have loads of space, lots and lots of space, but we just weren't getting the ball. I mean, it was everything was affected in the middle of the park. Okay, we didn't use our wings, and they stopped us. In fairness to Villa, they stopped us using our wings by playing it so narrow through the middle. Hence why Elisa and Wilf were so ineffective, and to the point where obviously the manager changed it later on in the second half. Okay, so that's the lineup. Ian, how about, before I ask you to do your first half resume, if you don't mind, I was expecting low viewing figures this evening, ladies and gentlemen. I can't believe how many of you are out there watching. Thank you so much, wherever you are watching in the world. Thank you for sharing the Red and Blue review. Do us a little kindness. Can you do a little share on your own Facebook page? Maybe do a little watch if that watch thing's still available on Facebook. Get other people. Tell them all about us. Just share it now. Ian, your first half thoughts, please.
Yeah, thanks, Nick. I thought we started brightly enough, to be fair. The first big chance of the game fell to Wilf. Elise passes the ball across the box, and Wilf creates some space for himself, and he drags his shot just wide. And, on another day that goes in, and it's a different game if we score first early doors. We concede then, I think 14, 15 minutes, we concede from another set piece. I think we've conceded more goals from set pieces than any other Premier League club. That's 10 now of the 19 goals we've conceded. So just, half, a little bit more than half. So, Patrick said after the Burnley game, we're going to have to work on that. They might have worked on it, but it wasn't very effective because once again, Matt Targett had space in the box to just take his time, pick his moment. And all right, it was through a whole a body of players, and he got a bit lucky because another day that strikes someone's leg and doesn't go in. But, you've got to have a shot. If you get a shot on target, you've got a chance of scoring. And that's what he did. And Tim, you alluded to it, I think, with Tompkins. He went for the header and he just missed it, didn't he? Missed it completely. And you think, actually, a centre-half needs to make sure they win those balls, even if they just get a flick on it and put it beyond the 18-yard area, and then so we can regroup and push up again. So, 1-0 down and probably a little bit against the run of play early on, to be fair. But, of course, the goal gives them confidence. And, success breeds confidence in this league. And the margins are very, very fine. And Villa then start getting back into the game. And McGinn, he scored his goal in the second half, but he had a very good chance on about 27, 28 minutes. They worked the ball effectively. Watkins was involved, plays him in. And that was so close to being 2-0 on about half an hour. He's a great player, that John McGinn. And he really did come close in the first half as well as scoring in the second. We had that moment in the first half when Benteke was through. He ghosted past 2 or 3 players. And I think it was actually Luca that played him in. I'm not sure about that. And it was Mings that dealt with it in the end. But, it was sort of half a chance, nearly created an opening. But there were few openings, really. It wasn't our best football. Was I worried when we were 1-0 down? Not really, because we went behind at Burnley. We came back into it. And I think now we've got enough about us, usually, not yesterday, but usually we've got enough about us to turn games like that around, even though we're 1-0 down. So we go in, 1 goal behind at the break. So, a bit disappointing. I think the best thing about it was the interview with the boxer, at half time. That was quite good. If you haven't seen that, have a listen on the channels. But half time, and but probably deserved to be behind. I don't know. It was a close thing, but 1-0 down at the break.
1-0 down at the break. From my point of view, I thought it was one of those things where we were losing that 1-0. It was a poor first half. It reminded me a little bit of a Hodgson sort of first half, where you just knew something would turn around in the second half. And Nigel, I'm coming to you for some stats, mate. But sadly, to no avail, because it didn't. Whilst it improved a little bit in the first half, the first half was just, it was just a washout. Nigel, some stats, please, mate, and then Tim, some comments from the chat, please.
Right, for the first half, like for the whole match, Palace dominated possession. First half, we had 55% possession. We managed 3 shots during the first half, compared to Villa's 8. We didn't have a single shot on target in the first half. Villa had 2. And corners was 3 each. And for the fouls, which I think Aston Villa were going down and drawing milking it, let's put it politely. It was 9 for Palace and only 4 for Villa.
Interesting stuff. And what made me annoyed me is I actually saw the Villa coach. I didn't just see the Villa coach once yesterday. I saw the Villa coach around here twice yesterday. And unfortunately, I had no house bricks or anything like that to hand. It was interesting because also somebody just said, and it was Chris Brandrick, evening Chrissy boy, I hope you're well, mate. Love to the family. Chris just said, and the fans were crap too. Ian,
No, you can't say that.
Your thoughts on that?
No, I don't buy that at all, really. I mean, Villa fans were loud, for sure. Really good away support. But, the Homesdale, made some noise as they always do, and it's difficult when you're losing, but they carried on, so I don't buy that. Our support was crap. It wasn't the best it's ever been, but it wasn't crap. But Villa support was very good. Let's be clear about that. Very good away support.
Yeah. And again, Chris, whilst I respect your view, mate, on the stream that I I actually concur with what Ian just said. I thought we actually sounded very good. We sounded very good, and I don't know where the microphones were positioned in the ground, but we sounded good. In fact, I'd go less than that. In fact, the Villa fans seemed very quiet, so maybe they were positioned towards the Homesdale. Interesting stuff. Okay, Tim, Nigel.
It all depends on where the editor wants to fade the mics in and out. Every section of the ground has got microphones.
And even when you're in the ground, guys, it can sound different to where you are. So I know people in the White Horse, and they say, "Oh, we can't hear the Homesdale. We can only hear the away fans." Yeah. So it depends where you are in the ground, doesn't it? But,
on the TV, they can do exactly what they want. Fade the home mics down and bring up the away. So I wouldn't go by what you hear on the television.
Just reading through some of the comments in the chat, there's obviously a difference of opinion on that subject. You mentioned editor. One of you mentioned editor. Ladies and gentlemen, while I've got you, can you just pin your ears back a minute? And we're going to come on to the chat in a minute, Tim. Editor, the word editor. We have got lots of extra bits and pieces coming up for you over the next coming months, okay? And as a team, we are looking for somebody who has some form of editing ability to come and join the Red and Blue Review team. You don't have to present if you don't want to. You don't have to do very much on our socials if you don't want to. Simply somebody who's learning their trade, somebody who would like to polish off what they're learning and help us do a little bit of editing in the show. So in the most common times where I cock up, I make a mess up or something, you can come on and just polish it up a little bit and make us look louder and prouder. So when we put it out on our socials at a later date, if you are or you know of anybody who has the ability and maybe an editing suite at home that would like to come and join the Red and Blue Review, I'd like to meet them. Okay, and come and join the Red and Blue Review scene. We are blessed with such a talented bunch of guys in the background. Okay, and they give up their time every week. Would you like to become one of them? Just come and just drop me a private message, drop me in a private message, Nigel, any of us, and say, listen, I'm doing so-and-so and so-and-so at university, or I've got a good idea on how to do so-and-so. So talk to us, just let us know. We're looking for a show editor, ladies and gentlemen. Come and join the team. Okay, Tim, chat, please.
Yeah, quite a bit as you've commented on. Paul Holden makes a good point. He said, was the Villa game an ideal chance to play Hughes? Not seen anything of him yet. Chris Brandrick, PV obviously doesn't rate Hughes, so there's that old chestnut coming up again. Somebody else a bit later on said, is he the new Max Meyer? Who knows? Jason Roy, Scars, agrees with the first goal. Tompkins should have made sure he got the ball. What else have we got? Aaron Morales, after weeks of possession-based positive attacking football, I'm not sure why this week against Villa, Vieira decided to go into the game with a negative game plan of two holding central midfields. I don't necessarily go with that. I see what he means, but I think in that first half, like we said, it was more a case of Villa making a change because we were on top at the start. And where I was disappointed was it took us too long to react to that. You should have seen that. John Murphy, Mings took care of Coyote and Tompkins at the corner. That was a worked-on set play from Villa, a bit too easy. Probably very true. A few other bits and pieces. Ryan Hinton, we dust ourselves off and go again. This time last year, we would have been smashed, so it's all good. Lots of moaning from the fans, which is nice to see, but let's get back to reality. And that I echo that to a certain extent because, the first half was poor, but it was very pleasing to see in the second half that Vieira made the attacking changes that he did make and not at the last minute. So
good stuff. I'm really glad you raised that point, actually. And thank you for whoever did that. Because in the chat, Ian, I'm coming to you for the second half next, if you don't mind. But in the chat, both Simon Cribbin, hello, Canada, good evening, Canada, I hope you're well, and Claire Davies both make the same point. Now, Ian, as you were in the ground, I'm actually going to ask you this, okay? Simon Cribbin said, was that the first time Zaha had ever been subbed? And Claire then went on to say Zaha wasn't happy about being subbed. Your thoughts on that substitution, please, before you give us the second half update.
I think it takes a lot of guts to take Wilfried Zaha off first. That's the first thing I would say. And if he has been subbed, I don't remember that. So it might have happened.
Away, maybe.
Pardon, Nigel?
Huddersfield away, I think he got taken off.
Okay, so Huddersfield away. So it's few and far between. You could probably count it on one hand the number of times Wilf has been taken off in those 406 appearances. He's certainly started on the bench a few times, as we know, especially when he first came back to the club after being at Man United. But what do I think about the decision about him going off? I think it was probably the right decision, actually, because it had 70 minutes. He was on a yellow card. He wasn't getting protected. One thing I was going to mention, which I'll mention now, is that we had a rookie referee. It was his first ever Premier League game.
Correct.
Stepping up from the Championship, Michael Salisbury. This season in the Championship, he's dished out 20 yellows and 5 reds from just 6 games. So this guy is a real novice when it comes to Premier League refereeing. And if Wilford steps out of line just one more time, when James McArthur's captain and playing, it's different because Macca gets in and mixes it up and protects him. He'll always be in there. Luca was nowhere to be seen, and neither was anyone else. So we know Wilf's got a short fuse. We know about that. We're probably not going to change him now. He needs to try and deal with it if he can. But he's on a yellow card, and he was moments away from a second, maybe. He wasn't playing particularly well. So I think it's probably the right decision, given that we have strength in depth on the bench anyway. If you haven't got the bench to come on and change a game, then fine, leave him on. But Edouard is the kind of player that can actually do something. And as we saw, he had a couple of shots and, trying to make a bit of a difference. I'm not saying it's absolutely the right decision, but all I'm saying is I can understand it. And, Patrick's got some guts to do that. And what we're saying here, I suppose, now with Wilf is that he's no longer the be-all and end-all about Crystal Palace. One player...
Absolutely.
One player does not make a team. It's the whole 11, the whole squad that makes the team. So there we are.
Just a couple of things before I'll come to you on the second half, Ian. I'm getting told off in the chat. Andrew Adams, hello, mate. I hope you're well, buddy. Wilf was on a yellow, as PV said. Let's not make something out of nothing. Okay, that's absolutely fair. But I think it's he was pushing it a little bit, to say the least. I know we had a couple of other yellow cards as well. Joel Ward was very unusually booked, and I can't remember who the third one was, but there was another one as well. Who was it?
Luca.
Oh, called it Luca. It's one of those sort of, and the real panel, as I just said, is good that we finally have a genuine options on the bench that we can bring on for Wilf when he occasionally needs bringing off. Okay, and Paul, you're right, mate. Look forward to seeing you at Leeds on Tuesday night, guys, because I will be there. Come and say hello. If seriously, if you are travelling to Leeds, and my understanding, I digress. I'm sorry. My understanding about Leeds is that Ian, you might know better than me, that we actually had 2 blocks for Leeds, okay, and we'd sold them out, okay. So they opened up a 3rd block for us, and we've now sold those as well. So for a midweek game, I'm expecting a very, very good turnout. I hope so. I've never been to Ellen Road. It's been years since I've never been to Ellen Road, and it's an experience I'm really looking forward to. So if you are travelling to Ellen Road on Tuesday, please come up and say hello. Just tap me on the shoulder. Let us know who you are, okay? And I'll give you a mention on next week's show. Safe travels up to Ellen Road. Ian, second half, buddy, please.
Yeah, I've been to Ellen Road a few times, but never in the top flight. And I think that's probably why there's a lot of interest, because we haven't played them away for a long, long time that we've been able to go to. Obviously, last season didn't count. Okay, so second period, we start brightly enough. We take the game to them a little bit. We've got Eze comes on after an hour. His first appearance since last May, I think. And it was great to see him, come onto the pitch, wasn't it? I wasn't quite sure where he was playing. He was sort of playing in a number 10 floating around kind of role. And he did okay, but he certainly didn't pull up any trees yesterday during his half an hour appearance. We forced Martinez into a couple of saves. Benteke's bicycle kick wasn't even shown on Match of the Day. There we go. Edouard has an effort as well that was well saved by Martinez. But the one thing I want to talk about, and again, this was shown on Match of the Day, was when Wilf was running with the ball across the middle of the pitch. He got badly fouled, and rightly, it was a foul. So referee blows up for a free kick. This rookie referee, and yet if he just allowed the play to go on a little bit longer, Gallagher and Benteke were 2-on-2 on the edge of the box, and Luca and others were really livid with the referee for blowing up. And, we could have easily gone on to score on that occasion. So he cost us with that decision to stop the play. So that was very disappointing. And, of course, when you're 1-0 down in the Premier League, you've got to push on and try and, get back into the game. You can't sit back and, hope to lose 1-0. That's just ridiculous. So, we pushed up. And when you push up, you need gaps as well. So, we're a little bit unlucky not to score, I think, in the second half. There was one occasion when the ball flashed across the box. I think it was Gallagher, and a couple of Villa players sort of got in each other's way, and there was a bit of pinball, and they got a bit lucky. Benteke was on the penalty spot. Why wasn't he in the 6-yard box? I don't understand him sometimes. Great goals he scored last week, but a centre forward needs to be in the 6-yard box when the ball comes across, just to get a toe on it. And our friend Mark showed him how to do it in stoppage time, of course. So we're 1-0 down. Villa, 86 minutes, I think it was, the McGinn goal. Now, if you watch this back, it's a glorious goal. It really is. And he's free on the edge of the box. No one's near him, and he curls it. I think it starts off going outside the post, and it curls just in, and it's perfect, absolutely perfect. Really, really good goal. And game over.
And where did it come from, Ian?
It came down their left.
Yeah, it came from Luca with a pathetic free kick, wasn't it?
Oh, that's right. Absolutely, you're right.
Yeah. Good
That
point.
Free kick. What on earth was he doing? I think, what was he doing? Absolutely. Yeah, you're right. You're right. I've forgotten that bit, Tim. You're right. And they broke in numbers. And of course, 2-0 on 86 minutes, game over. What I was very disappointed with yesterday, guys, tell me in the chat if you, no, I'm not having a go at you if you left on 86 minutes, please. But I was disappointed that so many Palace fans left the ground on 86 minutes as soon as that goal went in. Loads left in their droves, absolutely, including some of my mates, because I got back to the pub afterwards and they were only halfway through their first pint. How did you get here? Oh, did you stay and see the goal? Yeah, of course I bloody did, you know. So, they left when it was 2-0. So I know some people feel like that. They get so upset and they've got to walk out. I'll be interested in the chat if you stayed or if you left yesterday when we're 2-0 down. And then, we get the opportunity. Again, we're pressing again, trying to get back in it, but the game is over. And, we do get that consolation goal in stoppage time, but that's all it was. And it was barely a celebration, really. It was the most muted goal celebration Selhurst has ever seen. And Luke Cooper, thank you, Luke. You're right to say, I always stay to the end ever since Liverpool 3-3. Absolutely. 3-0 down with 7 minutes left. What a night that was. So, yeah, stay to the end if you can. But there are. So, we lost 2-1. The run had to come to an end at some point, I suppose. We'd had 7 games unbeaten. That equalled our best run ever in the top flight, or in the Premier League anyway. And we hadn't lost a home all season, and yet Villa hadn't won away. And I think they had the worst away record in the Premier League prior to yesterday. So it was almost inevitable, wasn't it, that we would lose it?
Something like that. They'd only won once at Selhurst Park in 40 odd, I think, somewhere 30 or 40 years. And it was just one of those games where I thought pre-game, it's all in our favour, so it can only mean one thing: a defeat. And ladies and gentlemen, if you're not in our predictions league, do so. And the guys will bail me out there in the prediction league. They'll see that I actually pre-match predicted a loss. Oh, by the way, a couple of things in the chat. Lee Clark, what about the foul on Wolf you put in there? Wilf, okay. The boy just touched on that. I'm going to stop there.
Hang on, there's one thing I want to mention, sorry, about the second half, which I forgot. This went against us, but the red card, what a fiasco that was. The red card situation. It was clearly it wasn't a red card, but he couldn't wait to pull the red card out, could he?
Inexperience, mate.
Yeah, absolutely inexperience. And, Villa players rightly annoyed that he did that. And that's what VAR's there for, really. So yeah. And someone else just said in the chat, interestingly, Selhurst and Thornton Heath stations being closed yesterday probably helped some people to make their mind up to leave early. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, valid point. Ian, Nigel, I'm coming to you for some stats in a second. Before we do, ladies and gentlemen, I need to make a public apology, okay? We made an error on last week's show. Some of you will laugh at this and some of you will think it's the serious side of it. So I'm going to deal with it right now, okay? About 5 minutes before we went on air whenever we did the post Burnley game, was it Monday night? I can't remember which night it was. I was contacted by somebody who I've interchanged with on social media many times. I'm not going to name him, but he gave me the information, and of course I trusted it. Okay, I put out the information that an individual Palace fan had died. Okay, now it turns out that nothing could be further from the truth. A guy called Danny Warren, I was told, had passed away. I don't know Danny. I've never interacted with Danny. But the guy that told me this is normally pretty accurate on what the information he gave me. Ladies and gentlemen, my sincere apologies. We actually mentioned 2 deaths of Eagles last week. Well, it was actually only 1. So on behalf of the Red and Blue review team, I do apologise. I was acting on information that had just been passed to me as we went on air. Normally, we would check any facts that we put out. So to Danny's family, my sincere apologies. No, there was nothing. There was no malice meant in it whatsoever. It was just a genuine error. So heartfelt apologies on behalf of myself and the team.
Nick, it's Denny, not Danny. Dave Hart says it's Denny.
Oh, is it Denny?
Yeah, Denny.
No, I didn't get his demise wrong. I've got his name wrong as well. So, Nige, full-time stats, please.
Right, full-time stats. We continue to dominate possession. I say the first half we were at 55%. By the time we finished the match, we had 63% of the match possession. Shots, Palace had managed to go up to 8 shots. Villa still dominated shots, even though the less of the possession had 10 shots. Shots on target, we actually managed 3 in the second half. By the end of the second half, because we did have 0 at the end of the first. Corners, it was ended 7 for Palace and 3 for Villa. And the total fouls was Crystal Palace had 12 and Aston Villa had 10.
Thank you for that. And Paul Bristow gives you one more stat that you haven't got, okay? There was a big landmark stat from yesterday's game. Mark Geehy's goal was our 900th in the top flight. Didn't know that one. I don't know where... Excuse me. I don't know where you pulled
the 1,000th.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't suppose we'll see them on Tuesday night, I have to say. But, yeah, absolutely. Right, so sadly, a 2-1 reverse at Selhurst Park. But we move on. We've got lots of games coming up, thick and fast. And Ian's just reeled them all off to you. Make sure you've entered our Twitter competition for this month, okay? Really important. The prizes are right here. Wait until we come over to you. Last October's winner actually took delivery of his prize this week, which was a T-shirt and bobble hat, much needed in this cold weather, on behalf of our friends at palaceeagles.com. So good evening to Palace Eagles. All you guys over there, you're doing a cracking job. Our friends at palaceeagles.com. But these are from the Red and Blue Review. These programs that we have are specially signed for you. Make sure you like it. Loads of stuff going on. Tim, anything else in the chat, mate?
David Hart says, Nick, get your coat. And you might lose it again.
On that subject of the coat, Paul, the real panel has already said in the chat, Ian, Nick, don't lose your coat on Tuesday night. Paul, the reason I won't lose my coat on Tuesday night is because I'm not going with him, okay? He's not going anywhere near my coat on Tuesday night. So there you go. Keep going, mate.
Yeah, no, a lot of people saying they'd never leave early. I know a friend of mine, she was a Plymouth Argyle fan down in Cornwall when we lived there, and that was one of her pet hates. Anyone who left early, she certainly made sure she let them know it wasn't on. It was quite entertaining. Yeah, the landmark, Paul Bristow's comment, that was good. Andrew Adams, PV, very honest assessment of the game. Didn't hide behind the fact that we weren't good enough. It'd be interesting to see what other people think of Vieira now. You know, has the tarnish come off a bit? Is it, you know, are we seeing a few things that maybe a more experienced manager would jump on quicker? I don't know. Luke Cooper, do you think Wilf could be dropped over the next few games? And also Luca, I'd like to hear more about what people think of Luca. Personally, I don't think he should start for a long time now. He's just too much of a liability, but I'd certainly be interested to hear what other people have to say.
Okay, yeah. Well, the Luca thing, Ian, you're probably better placed than I am to answer that. But the Luca thing is a bit of a quandary for him because yes, he has got Hughes on the bench, but bear in mind, are you advocating that we lose Maka and Luca for one game? Because
I think I would drop Luca, but I don't think I would play Will Hughes from the start. He won't play Will Hughes from the start. He'll give him minutes first. You know, like he gave Eze minutes yesterday. So I don't think that's an option. But it could be that we start Schlupp, for example, or even bring Riedewald in. Riedewald was on the bench yesterday. You know, he's been out of favour for a long time, but he can play DM, and it would be interesting, you know, just to see how he would get on again in the first team with a start. So, yeah, Joan Wells says, what's wrong with Schlupp? I think it's a good shout. I'd like to see Schluppy play. And the other thing that Gallagher can do, we'd miss him offensively a bit more, but he can play a more of a defensive role. When he came off the bench for England, make his England debut the other week, he played in a defensive midfield role for the first half of that second half. And he dropped back a little bit more yesterday as well. So I think you've got to, there are options there. And I just think Luca is, He's just too rash. I mean, the booking yesterday, Match of the Day said, and I think they're right, is that if the on-the-field referee had given a red card for that, then VAR wouldn't have overturned it. It was one of those that was 6 of one, half a dozen the other. He caught the player that was going through, and he was lucky there was another Palace player sort of level. But I think Luca needs to have a break from being selected for our first 11. I really do. I don't think we'd ever drop Wilf. Someone else said in the chat, would we drop Wilf? No, Wilf is our talisman. He's still our best player, and he can do marvellous things. So that's not going to happen. So but we have got options, and I think Ayew might well start up at Leeds. I think, he played well at Burnley, as Nigel has already said, and he can keep possession for long periods of time. The only thing that's missing with him is the goals. But Patrick said this week, that will come. So that was why I was a bit surprised not to see him selected yesterday, to be honest with you.
Okay. You notice I haven't commented on people leaving early yesterday. And there, ladies and gentlemen, for those that know your history, especially about us, you'll know that there's a reason why I haven't commented on people leaving early. Cast your mind back. So those of you who don't know, are not aware that I obviously used to I've done other podcasts for other Palace fan bases, okay? And when I did, one day, it was a Sunday night and we were live. Cast your mind back to the Sunderland at home game where we were 4-0 down at half time, okay? And the fan base en masse, okay, half the stadium emptied and they were in the pub. And I called them out. You know what I'm like? Me and my big mouth, okay? I'm quite happy to call out anybody, as I've done about the fighting tonight, okay, as I did that night. And I gave it the full Philpott rant, okay, saying, and I went into it in massive detail. As a Palace fan, that was the only time I'd ever received death threats. And I honestly received death threats following that rant. Who the hell do you think you are, Philpott, telling me what I can and cannot do, blah, 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 blah. And I actually got death threats following that. I don't agree with leaving early. It's, that's my own opinion, but people have their reasons. And public transport yesterday was one of those very genuine reasons. So that's why I haven't commented so far, people, because I don't want any more death threats. I'll probably get that when I get to Leeds on Tuesday night. Anyway, listen, we have had a fantastic run. So please don't be despondent about it yesterday. It was a bad day at the office. That's where it was. It was a poor performance across the pitch. Unfortunately, he doesn't have a great amount of time to put it right. We've got, Ian's already alluded to the fact we've got games coming up thick and fast over the next few days and next few weeks with the Christmas period. So we kick off with 2 away games, 2 very tough away games. Leeds have been flying. Man United under Carrick, are they picking up a little bit of form? Well, we're about to find out. So, ladies and gentlemen, out in Facebook land, I would like your thoughts, please. Quick, out of those 6 points coming up this week, and it's Tuesday night and Sunday, I believe. Is that right, Ian? Yep, Tuesday night and Sunday. What do you think points tally, if any, you think that we're going to get from those 2 games? And I'm going down to New Zealand to kick us off with, because, ladies and gentlemen, you'll remember this. He's about to be very bold or otherwise. What do you think, Mr. Richards? Our points tally for those 2 games?
1.
1 point. Oh, that's tough. That really is tough. Oh, blimey. Okay. Sunderland?
1.
God, you're a bunch of chipple Charlies.
That's next Sunday.
That's next Sunday against Man United, right? Okay. Yeah. And they are flying through. Thank you, everybody. I can see them all. Summer, I can see your 1 point. Jamie Chambers, 4 points. Lee Clark, 1. Claire Davis, 3. Andy Best, 1. Good God, you're taking yesterday's defeat really hard. Mr. Noble, give me some light, please.
My glass is always half full. Theirs is half empty. Here's me red and blue tinted specs. I'm going 4 points. I think we'll beat Leeds, and I think we'll draw at Old Trafford. There you
go. Paul,
Leeds aren't particularly good. You say they're flying. They're not flying at all. They drew with Brighton. They lost to Spurs. They're not flying.
They're missing Bamford.
We're player for player. We're better than Leeds United. No doubt about that at all. I think we're beaten.
Okay, and I'm looking at Paul Hosconi, no points. David Hart. Any idea? Oh, he said 3 pints is what he said, not 3 points. Yeah, I better be a damn sight more than that.
Is that before the game?
Yeah, that's
Or at half time?
That's on the trade on the way out there for him. Joan Wells, good evening to you, 2 points. Ian Roberts, 3 points. Summer Kearson, 5+1. Sorry, that's Paul Holden, 5+1. Matty Cannon, 7. 7? Really? 7 points out of 6. That's good, that is. Okay, loads of them. Leeds have many injuries, Ryan says. Ryan, I understand you're going on Tuesday night, mate. If you are, tap me on the shoulder, mate. Come say hello. We're a decent team. 6 points, says Paul Glance. That's the sort of enthusiasm I wanted. I mean, we have got they are. They've got to travel. Do you think, Ian, will they come back? Will the team come back after Leeds, or
yeah,
will they stay up there?
No, they'll come back. They'll come back. They'll probably they might stay over on that Tuesday night. No, I think they'll come back Tuesday night. That's what I think they'll try. I think they might get a coach back. Normally they'll be on the train, but they'll come back for sure. They'll be at the training pitch on Thursday and Friday and Saturday, I think.
So say again, Nigel.
The team always flying in and out of Leeds Bradford Airport.
Well, there we are. There's your answer.
They'll fly back down to Biggin Hill Tuesday night.
Blimey. Really? I didn't know they did that. Do you think so? Anybody actually know? Aaron Morales says 1 point. Come on, guys. Let's have a bit more positivity in the chat. It's a one-off result. We've had a great run. What's the matter with you? Come on, a bit more positivity. Listen, I haven't got an awful lot more. Boys, have you got anything you want to talk about? Was there anything that I've missed that we were going to talk about? Ian?
No, just to reiterate the competition, to win it, you've got to follow us on Twitter and you've got to retweet the tweet and give us an answer. All right.
Thank you for joining us, Ian. Nigel, is there anything I've forgotten?
No, as I say, just keep a close eye on social media in the next week. Something is going to hit.
It's not massive. It's bigger than that. What's a bigger word than massive?
Colossal.
Ginormous.
Like I said, this is something no other Palace podcast has ever had. And we've got it. And not only have we got it, it's in the can. And you're going to see it exclusively on Red and Blue Review. But you must have liked the Red and Blue Review Facebook page, okay? You're not going to see it without it, okay? Although it'll be all over our socials. And all the others will be gutted. Tim, is there anything I've forgotten, mate? Anything you wanted to bring up?
Nope, I think that's it.
When are you coming home?
We land back December 22nd.
Well, welcome back to the UK when you do land, mate, and I'm sure we'll see you before that. Ladies and gentlemen in Facebook land, we're going to give it an early wrap this evening. Well, it's not early, it's 9 o'clock, but we're going to give it a sharp wrap. Please, please, please do as he has told you to do. Get on there because you want one of these. This is coming to you. I'm not showing you the front cover because the clue is on the front cover. Shall I?
Milking it now, mate.
I am milking it, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nick Philpott. These three have been giving up their Sunday evening just for you. Give them a like on Facebook right now before we go off air. Quick like on the Facebook page and say thank you to them for giving up their Sunday nights. Thank you for joining us. On behalf of everybody at Red and Blue Review, please stop fighting. Take care of each other. Look after each other. Good night, everybody. Good night.
Good night. And wear your masks.
Absolutely.